Coming up, we have stories about sister-in-law being a master manipulator, husbands limiting showers, wife taking a 7-week vacation, starting a family later in life, revenge announcing pregnancy at brother's wedding, hijacking a birthday party, and spoiling a daughter after trauma. Where there's dysfunction, we'll be there to at least talk about it. Am I the astronaut for telling my sister-in-law she's not welcome near my baby at all? My sister-in-law cannot physically have children, but she did adopt her daughter 11 years ago. Her daughter is 12. About 2 years ago, she started harping on her husband a lot about wanting to adopt another baby, and he was never on board. It wasn't too long after she started expressing her desire to adopt another baby that I fell pregnant. At first, my sister-in-law just didn't say much of anything to me. When I was around 5 months along, she really started effing with me. She started inviting me over all the time and often put it in my head that I wasn't capable of taking care of a child because I have a history of depression. Oh shit, she's grooming her to try to take your baby. This is not okay. She was just constantly saying, I'm worried about you, or I fear you will have postpartum psychosis. And she said everything in such a way that I actually started believing her. It with my head nearly every night. This continued until I was nearly at my due date, but it always amped up a little every time. Like her last couple of comments were, I'm not sure if you can handle it, and if something goes wrong, I'm going to have to take my brother for custody of the baby. And, you know I will take custody of the baby if you can't handle it. And it got on my head so much that I stupidly thought she was just showing concern and not being a manipulative. She whipped out the C word. I mean, it's warranted here. It's warranted here. Anyway, I gave birth in October, and my sister-in-law came over to see the baby when she was about 2 weeks old. When she was holding her, she started to cry, and I went to take her back, and she shooed me away and said, no, she's fine, and just started bouncing my kid until she eventually fell asleep. Unfortunately, I did have PPD, and I just didn't say anything. I clammed up, and as soon as she left 2 hours later, I lost it, bawled my eyes out while holding my daughter, and honestly, it made my PPD worse, if anything. Because of that interaction, I didn't want anyone near my daughter or to hold her. I ended up checking myself into therapy. I'm loads better now, but through therapy, I've developed a very large, overdue, shiny spine. And through therapy and some realization, I can now see that my sister-in-law was using manipulation tactics to make me feel less than, so I would give her custody of my daughter. Well, she asked me last week if she could come steer the baby away for some snuggles. I told her no. She asked why. And I was honest and said that I don't trust her because of all of her comments throughout my pregnancy and her refusal to hand my daughter back to me like I requested when she was there. So no, she wasn't allowed around my baby at all. She argued that I can't just cut her off with no warning and that this just proves that I was right and that I am clearly having a manic episode, and told me that I'm simply unable to see that I'm potentially putting my baby in danger and that I should be allowing family, aka her, to take the baby so I can get my head on right. I blocked her off everything, but she's getting my mother-in-law involved and causing problems for my husband. Am I the astronaut? Top comments and relevant info from OP before we dive into this and just absolutely shred this biznatch to pieces. OP was asked about her husband. He went no contact with his sister after she said she would fight him for custody of our baby. He wants nothing to do with her. She didn't even have contact with us really before I got pregnant, so after she said she would fight him for custody, he had no problem blocking her off everything. The only reason she was allowed here when I was 2 weeks postpartum was because I desperately needed a shower. My husband's work refused to give him time off after the baby was born, and he works 14-hour shifts. Suck. So I asked for help. I shouldn't have even asked her. Yeah. Comment number 1, NTA. This is a perfect example of gaslighting. She went out of her way to make you feel like you were going crazy to get her own way. I hope your husband is supporting you in this. I would absolutely not let her anywhere near my child nor me. Keep going to therapy. Record her when she threatens you so you have a record in case she escalates. Also, make sure you have cameras around your house because I could see someone like her going out of her way to break in and do something to cause problems. Comment 2, she actively was trying to push OP over the edge. That is pure evil. Yeah. This biznatch, there's no other way to say it. She's a That's it. There's no other way to say it. She's this. She's a bizzo. She is absolutely delulu. And the ASCON won. And I mean, she gets the full gamut here. She gets the DFHB declined here as well, because someone who is willing to make a new parent believe that they aren't capable of raising their own child just to fulfill their own selfish desires is the biggest piece of shit that you could possibly be. This is like if there were flying horses and they pooped like birds do, like that size of turd hitting your windshield is how big of a piece of shit this woman is. And to do this in a way that is so transparent, but not giving a single because she is just like, you know what? I'm going to make her believe she can't do it so I can get her baby. And I'm going to fight for custody. What makes you think that you have any claim to this child at all, Auntie? She says she's going to get custody. Really? Okay. If she is hell-bent on getting custody, then your commenters here are correct, because she is the type of bizzo that's going to break into your house or break into your car and plant drugs or something there, and then call in anonymously with a hot tip so you get pulled over or some shit, and they find a brick of heroin or some shit in your trunk and take your kid away, and there she is swooping in to save the day. Those are active threats, ma'am. She made active threats against you to take your child away. Get an RO. This woman can't come anywhere near your residence or you or your kid or anywhere your kid goes. Move if you have to. This is terrifying as a parent. Absolutely terrifying. And thank goodness, OP, you did the necessary treatment to get yourself to where Mama Bear can really show up and roar when she needs to. Because hot damn, this woman she was on the fast track. She knew that she had you wrapped around her finger, or that she was manipulating you successfully. She knew that this was happening, and she was, her path was a rapid one. She was not taking her time, pussyfooting around. She put on the afterburners and she was like, I'm coming for it. Now that Mama Bear's away, you can be like, try it, bitch. Try it. Try it. The question was, am I the astronaut for telling my sister-in-law she's not welcome near my baby at all? Hell no. Should have done it sooner. Glad you're doing it now. But it's not going to be enough to just tell her, unfortunately, because she has this delusion seated in her mind already, and it is solidified to something real in her mind. She believes this. She believes that she's the rightful mother to your child right now. It's not going to be enough to just say no. Unfortunately, you're going to have to do more. Ah! This one is from the Am I Overreacting subreddit and is titled, My husband won't let me take more than 2 showers a week. I told him I need him to stop or I'm moving out for a while. What? This is the weirdest thing my husband has ever done. He's a really sweet and loving husband, and I love him more than anything. Divorce is not an option, just to put it out there before the comments come in. My husband has always been a little out there. He is a computer programmer and super smart, but also believes all sorts of things, both real and conspiracy. Lately, he has been very worried about the environment and global warming. About 2 months ago, he got really worried about water. Yes, water. He is concerned about the quality of water. He put in a new filter system in our house, which I actually love because it tastes so much better, but he is also concerned about how much water we use, not because of the money, but the environment. He created a new rule that we can only take 2 showers a week. Now, I'm someone that likes to shower every day before bed. I just don't like feeling dirty in bed. This has created the most conflict in our marriage in 20 years. He is obsessed with the amount of water we use. And first, I just ignored his rule, but he would shut off the hot water while I was in the shower. Okay. I started trying to use the shower at the gym, but it's too much work to go every night with having kids. I honestly thought he would get over this within a month, but he's stuck on it still to this day. It's been more than a month. Ugh. Somebody's walking around with angry ass right now. Last night I really wanted to shower, but had hit my quota, as he says. I said I'm showering and that he better not do anything. But about 2 minutes in, the hot water turned off. I grabbed my towel and went down and started yelling, telling him this is the dumbest thing he has ever done. I also told him I'm moving to my parents if he doesn't stop this. Guys, I love this man. He is everything to me, but I can't take this anymore. Am I going too far in threatening to move out? No. Because this wasn't a mutual decision that you made. This was him deciding to be a dictator. There's a space, dictator, and just impose this rule upon everyone. That's not how you lead your family. And if he wants to make that decision for himself, that's fine. He makes it for himself to limit himself to 2 showers per week. He does not get to impose that rule on you. You are his equal partner in this setup. And it is a 2 yes, 1 no kind of structure. He is allowed to make his own personal decisions for him. If he is making personal hygiene decisions for you, sorry to tell you here, lady, you are being controlled in a, you know what this guy kind of sounds like to me? It sounds like he, because of the way that she presented him, it sounds like he comes up with a new obsession, right? He comes up with a fixation every once in a while about whatever it is. And I can understand that. I go through the same kind of shit. But his fixation, he cannot impose upon the entire family. And OP has voiced the opposition to this, and he doesn't give a shit. Someone who is willing to turn off the hot water in your shower to punish you, lady, I know you say you love this man and you don't want to leave him, but this is abusive. Do you not see that this is a form of abuse and manipulation and control? It is. Maybe you need to explain that to him, because pain creates change. What is going to be enough pain for him to stop this bullshit right now? He goes through cycles and has these obsessions. This one is particularly bad because of the way that he's trying to impose it upon you and the rest of the family. Maybe telling him that what he is doing is a form of abuse will wake him up to the fact that he's being a dictator. Maybe. What you've said right now, that you're going to move to your parents if he doesn't stop this, that's like a step 1. You need to frame this, though, with the spotlight, because right now the spotlight is just, I'm leaving if you don't stop this. The spotlight needs to be on because this is a form of abuse. You crusty ass dumbass. People, if you guys were both on board for this, sure, great. This is a partnership. He doesn't get to just decide and control you. What happens if he comes up with something different tomorrow that's even more against what your preferences or daily rituals are? What happens? C. Melton says, tell him, smell you later. I mean, look, people have different methods, and I know that different cultures treat it differently and they have their own methods, but this is not one of those times. It's going to continue unless you create enough pain by putting a spotlight on what he's actually doing. And I'm making the assumption that he doesn't realize what he's doing and how bad it really is, which is why you have to alert him to it. He will just change his fixation. Happiness rocks. There's going to be a new fixation, but he has to understand that sometimes his fixations transfer into some kind of abuse on his family, and he has a responsibility to prevent it from getting there. He has a responsibility to contain it and deal with it himself, inside of himself, and not allow it to damage his relationship with his family. That's a him problem. That's on him to solve within himself. The question, or no, there wasn't a question. It was just, am I overreacting? My husband won't let me take more than 2 showers a week. I told him I need him to stop or I'm moving out for a while. That's an NTA. We're going to go ahead and get it set up here. Come on, we can do it. NTA. Next thing you know, it's going to be you can only flush once a week. This one is actually from Best of Redditor Updates and is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Falling Out of Love with My Wife After She Took a 7-Week Vacation? 7 weeks is a long time. Originally posted April 12th, 2024. I, 32 male, have been married to my wife, 30 female, for 4 years, and we've been together for 8. She is a stay-at-home mom. We have Irish twins, 1 female, 2 male, which was incredibly taxing for my wife. She wanted a solo vacation break for a few weeks where she could travel to different states, visit her high school and college friends, go to concerts, and do a lot of fun stuff. She asked if I would be okay with it. I asked if she could make it maybe a couple of weeks shorter because 7 weeks managing our 2 children alone sounded really daunting, especially since work was also getting taxing recently. I do work remote, so at least that worked in my favor. Hold up. This is a 1 and a 2-year-old, and she just up and asks if she can leave for 7 weeks so she can go see friends and go to concerts? And is okay with leaving her 1 and 2-year-old for 7 weeks? Ruh-roh, Raggy. Like, oh no, Scoob. Like, I don't like the sounds of this. My wife and I discussed it for a couple of days, and I ultimately agreed with her that she did deserve a break because of what she has been through the past few years, and she took her vacation. The first week managing our children alone was extremely difficult, and I did feel like I was losing my mind, but I survived. My sister came over to help me for the second week on and was honestly a lifesaver, and I will be eternally grateful to her. I never directly asked her to help me, but I guess I indirectly did, because when my sister called me at the end of the first week, I basically broke down in tears. So from the second week on, my sister stayed over at my house to help with my children, and a huge burden had been lifted off my shoulders. I also was really able to focus on work and meet my deadlines. To be brutally honest, I did not miss my wife at all. I was emotionally and mentally relaxed, and also had a lot of fun with my kids and my sister. I felt a sense of betrayal that my wife had actually gone through with the 7-week vacation. I slowly fell out of love with my wife. When my wife came back from her vacation, she was super refreshed and recharged, but to be honest, I was a bit indifferent. My wife tried to initiate sex the first night she came back, which I rejected because I said I wasn't feeling it. The subsequent days, I had the same level of indifference in our day-to-day life, and she probably noticed it but didn't say anything. A week later, she asked me why I was like this, and I told her I don't love her anymore. She apologized for taking this 7-week vacation and asked if there was anything she could do to fix it. I told her no. We pretty much went through the motions for the next couple of weeks before I finally decided that I wanted a divorce. She seemed devastated when I brought up the divorce, which surprised me because I already told her I don't love her anymore. She asked if we could do couples therapy or marriage counseling first before I started looking for a divorce lawyer, and I told her I needed some time to think about it. I spent a few days thinking about it, and I'm still leaning towards a divorce, but basically, I don't love my wife anymore, and I don't think marriage counseling can fix it. Am I the astronaut for falling out of love with my wife because she has a 7-week vacation? There's an update. Before we get into that update, let's talk about this for a second, right? It's important to keep in mind. I mean, he says, am I the astronaut for falling out of love? Like, yeah, that's clearly a feeling, and I don't know that that's a feeling that he can control. But he did agree to this. I don't think it's right that she went. I think it's a huge red flag that she went and was okay leaving her kids this whole amount of time. But he did agree to it, right? Now, he's not saying I hate you because you did that. He's saying I fell out of love with you. I don't love you anymore. I don't think you can control that. It sounds like a realization, not a falling out of love. Yeah, it could have been a long time coming. Could have been. And he just didn't miss her not being there. But he also had help during that time. So it's not like a glimpse of what real life would be without her. God, my concern right now is really for the kids, because you got a 1 and a 2-year-old that mom was okay leaving for 7 weeks. No issues about that at all. So I don't know. That's hugely concerning. The kids are 1 and 2. PPD can last a long, long time, right? So let's say even if she was suffering from that, bouncing for 7 weeks, being okay with that, that's a lot. And that's a lot to put on your partner. Now, he agreed. That's the caveat. He agreed. Okay, let's dive into the update here. Yeah, I mean, leaving kids for a couple of days is tough. 7 weeks? Shit. Update April 13th, 2024. I posted my original last night and went to sleep immediately after. I have deleted it for anonymity's sake, but it was preserved here. I woke up this morning, spent an hour reading the comments, and decided that I at least owe it to our children to try couples therapy before considering divorce. I told my wife on my decision, and she was really happy about it. But I also told her that I don't expect too much to come out of it, because I just didn't love my wife anymore, and wasn't sure if couples counseling could fix that. I want to clarify a couple of things. Money was not an issue. I'm lucky to be working in a high-paying, albeit stressful job. It really didn't bother me how much my wife spent on her trip. The main issue was that I was emotionally and mentally overwhelmed managing 2 kids while I was also working full-time, albeit remote. My wife was also specifically against daycare for personal reasons. By the end of the first week, I had lost my sanity and basically broke down in tears when my sister video called me. Understandable. My sister had enough time to come over and help me from the second week on, and she really wanted to because it gave her a purpose in life. She has no plans to be in the workforce, and she's pretty much set in life because of my father's money. I did ask my father to not leave any money behind for me and give everything to my sister because I was already in the workforce and had a good job. It's very generous of you, which for some reason seems sus to me, but okay. Relevant comments here. Comment. Did you or your kids have any contact with your wife during this 7-week vacation? Original OP, she called me 2 times during the entirety of her vacation. She doesn't love you either, man. What kind of... Okay. I think she decided she didn't love you a long time ago, Broseph. But she's a stay-at-home mom who just went on a 7-week escapade that you funded and then came back and immediately tried to just have sex with you, but only called you 2 times. Which means if she also only called you 2 times during the entirety of her vacation, she talked to her kids a max of 2 times as well. There's no excuse for this. I don't care what's going on. There is no excuse for just abandoning your family and only calling twice in 7 weeks. No. That is just a lack of respect. That is, if you want to show your partner that you don't value their existence one bit, do this. So I'm sure he felt completely unloved, but it was pretty easy to fall out of love with someone who you're pretty damn sure doesn't give a shit if you're alive because they left you with 2 very young kids. Your kids, obviously. They left you with your 2 kids for 7 weeks and only called twice. That's all you need to know, man. That's all you need to know. Top comments. As a fellow young dad, 7 weeks is way too long, but in my opinion, we haven't been given enough info to judge this one. You are breaking down after a week alone with your kids. To me, it sounds like you may not be accustomed to caring for them. Perhaps the division of tasks in your household was not balanced properly. Asking to leave for 7 weeks shows deep resentment on its own. Agreed. There's no self-reflection in this post, and it bothers me a lot. I have a feeling you are the asshole, but we haven't been told the real story, of course. Comment number 2, my mom went on an 8-week vacation when we were kids. Decades later, we found out it was inpatient rehab for alcohol. Not even our dad knew where she actually went at the time. Interesting, because 7 weeks is a very specific amount of time, isn't it? 7 weeks, like from the get-go, having this plan for a 7-week vacation is very specific, is it not? OP doesn't even know that she was actually doing what she said that she was doing. And by that point, he didn't care. She was clearly indifferent about him if she had no qualms picking up and leaving for 7 weeks and only called twice. To be that upset when she gets back and realizes that he's now indifferent about her only says to me she's going to miss the lifestyle that she was able to have because of him. Now, the fact that she was able to do that to her kids is a much bigger red flag, and there's bigger issues going on there. Something is clearly wrong. I strongly doubt that she was actually doing what she said she was doing. It would explain the 2 phone calls. It would be great to know her side of this. That would be fantastic to know. No matter what the story is, no matter what problems they had, her ability to check out for 7 weeks and at max talk to the kids twice is alarming. To request to be away. I have doubts about everything here. And you know what? I am heavily and actively involved in with our kids and taking care of them. And still, after a week solid of not having your partner there at all, I'd probably be breaking down in tears too, without having any help. You don't realize how big of a deal just having a partner there so that you can use the bathroom when you need to, or you could take a shower when you need to, or you can get that 3 minutes of sanity where you can walk away for a minute. If you're the only one there 24/7, there is no escape. None. And until you form your own ways of dealing with it and find your own ways to stay sane, that first week of hazing, I'm sure, was really, really tough. And it got much easier when his sister showed up and helped. That doesn't mean that he wasn't actively involved in their upbringing before. It is way different being the only one there versus having even just someone show up for an hour. It's way different. But what if she was the only one there 24/7 and he doesn't do anything, Charlie Diego? I get it. And she was probably, if that was the case, let's follow that path for a second. If that was the case, she was probably losing her shit. Let's say that's the case. She's been the only caregiver 24/7. He's completely checked out, which is hard to believe. But let's assume that for a second. That still does not justify her bouncing for 7 weeks and only checking in twice to both her partner and her kids. It doesn't justify that. If that were the case, she wouldn't be able to go more than a day without calling in and talking to her kids at least. But yes, real life works. He did agree to it. But the question is not like, am I the asshole for being mad about it? He just fell out of love with her. And it was, I agree with Sergeant Mack here, this was a realization. The process of falling out of love with her and becoming indifferent to her did not happen while she was gone. He realized that it had already happened, and probably realized that it had already happened to her well before she ever left. And not being able to communicate about this, Candy Thunder. Yeah, if they can't communicate, this is never going to work. They've got to be able to translate each other's feelings and be honest with each other. They probably need to have, they haven't talked about, he said that she was very refreshed and recharged when she came back. That's it. That's all. That's all you talked about. Okay. You seem refreshed, recharged. Yeah, it was great. I would think that there'd be some in-depth conversation about, whatever successful soul searching she did out there. What did she discover? What's her outlook on life now that she's back? Are there any big problems that aren't problems anymore? What did you find out? What did you find out about yourself? I have no doubt that, she wasn't, we don't know that she was rocking 24/7 of the childcare. We don't know that she wasn't. Either way, it doesn't justify any of this. And he's talking about, am I an asshole for feeling indifferent to her now? No, man, I don't think either one of you care about each other, which is tough. It's really tough. Finding that out after you've got 2 kids. Yeah. That definitely sucks. This story is from the AITA subreddit and is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Telling My Brother He Is Weird for Starting a New Family at His Age? Seems like a shitty thing to say. My kid brother Danny's wife left him after their last kid moved out. They had been married for 25 years since he was 20. She was the only woman he had ever been with. She had been part of our family for 30 years. They started dating when she was a freshman. I guess after 30 years, she was ready for something new. She said that she was 44 and that she wanted to go enjoy her life before it was too late. That was 5 years ago. He's 50 now and his new wife is 30 and they are expecting their first child. I hope it's their only child. He is happy to have a partner again and he would do anything to keep her happy. I was happy for him when he started dating again. It got weird when he met and married a woman younger than my kids. And now they're having a kid. They had a big gender reveal party and it's going to be a boy. He is ecstatic. The family is happy for him. His 3 older kids are happy for him. His ex is a little miffed, but that might be sour grapes as her enjoyment of life has run into the roadblock of funding it. She got no child support and lost out on spousal support when she remarried 2 years after the divorce. Danny asked me why I was acting weird. I told him that he is too old to be doing such a dumb thing, that he's 5 years from retirement, and that he will now have a baby that's the same age as his first grandchild. That he married a bridesmaid from his daughter's wedding was weird enough, but to have a kid at 50 was super strange. I guess he told his wife, and this started a huge fight. She doesn't want me around if I'm going to be a judgmental bitch, her words. Most of my family told me I should keep those thoughts to myself. Even his daughter, whose friend he married, told me to butt out. I was only thinking of my brother and this new kid. I talked to Danny again and apologized. I told him I was only thinking about his future. He said that he is healthy, in great shape physically and financially, and in love. He said that if I can't just be happy for him, it would be best if we didn't hang out so much in the future. So now I'm biting my tongue just so I don't get frozen out because pretty much everyone is on his side. Someone is a bit too Betty here. Why do some people just hate to see people happy? Why? Why can't you just be happy that he's happy? Who gives a what the ages of his kids are going to be and how his family dynamic is? It doesn't touch your life in any way at all. Just be happy for them. The fact that you can't be screams petty, jealousy, envy. Feels like a green statement here, OP. Why shit on him? Because he's happy? Because he got to experience this kind of happiness more than once, maybe, and you feel like yours is like dried up? Wrong choice of words. You know what I mean. Top comment here. He sounds so reasonable. I wouldn't have been so gracious had someone come to question my and my partner's life choices like you did. You didn't sound worried here. You actually sounded very judgmental. You're the asshole, OP. It's not like he's dating her daughter's friend he knew from childhood, nor has he baby trapped her. They're both consenting adults happy to start this new project. You said most of my family told me I should keep those thoughts to myself, and they are right. Yeah, OP's definitely an asshole. Where would we put them? Speaking of the ass-con scale here. Man, I would have realized people are weird and bring much of their pain to themselves. Mind your business. Mind your business. You know, it's super common, though. People hate to see people happy. They hate it. Unhappy people hate to see people happy. Or fake happy people hate to see people happy. Like, it gets under their skin like scabies and just digs and burrows. I know, I should stop. But it is like poison to them. They can't, it's like kryptonite. It's like they just can't stand it. Especially if it's somebody who she's connected to and she sees them happy and has to see them happy on the regular. Yeah, ugh. Can't stand it. Gotta speak up. She can't stand it. She can't stand it. To me, maybe I'm being spicy here, but you can be bothered by someone's happiness all you want. The minute you start bringing it up to them and telling them that they're not living their life right, you're an ass-con one. Because you're not just dealing with your unhappiness, you are actively trying to shit on everyone around you. There are those who rise by lifting others, and there are those who rise by shitting on everyone around them, and you, OP, are one of the shitters. You have to shit on people who are happy to make yourself feel better. And if that's who you are as a person, if you've got no qualms shitting on your brother at their gender reveal or around that time because you don't approve of his life choices and you have to tell him that because you feel like somehow he's going to realize that you're right. He shouldn't be doing this. And just walk away? Would that make you feel better? Or did you just want him to know that you don't approve? Either way, go yourself. If you want to be miserable, do it in private. You don't get to shit on everyone around you. And if you do, there's going to be enough people that are like, hey, it'd be best if we didn't hang out so often. And then you'll just be sitting in a pile of your own shit with no one to shit on. At least don't sever all the relationships around you because you're miserable. You're going to be more miserable when you're alone. They don't need you. They didn't hire you as a life coach or a consultant to tell them what they're doing wrong by your standards. Sitting here realizing I might be hypocritical here. Spicy and Tipsy Thunder should do a podcast. I don't know. This is because it feels like there's no remorse here at all. This is why I got to 1. There's no remorse here at all. Opie had no problem shitting on her brother and then letting it trickle through and anger other people as well. And is only like, yeah, it was probably the wrong thing to say. No, wasn't like that at all. It was just like, I guess I can't tell anybody my shitty thoughts now. I'm at 1. Again, though, we talk about this a lot, but it's been a minute. I don't expect people to agree with my opinions on these. These are just purely my opinions. You're going to have your own thoughts, and that's completely cool because we've lived different lives. We're going to see things differently here. People who have to shit on other people's happiness, it's a hot button for me, apparently. Or maybe I'm just spicy tonight. I don't know. But either way, OP is a bitch. She's an ass-con one. Bizzo.
Bizzo.
See, look at the unhappiness in that face.
Hate to see you happy.
It's like her motto. It's terrible. This story is from the AITAH subreddit and is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Announcing Our Pregnancy at My Brother's Wedding After He Proposed at Mine?
Oh, shit. We're going to go ahead and get this out right now because I smell a petty war. A war of petty maneuvers spanning several lifetimes.
Not sure about that last bit, but it sounded right. Okay. My brother said he was going to propose at my wedding. I told him no, that it was a day about myself and my wife, and we did not want any distractions. My mom lost her shit. She said that he wanted family he might not see again for a while to be a part of the proposal. I said I did not give a shit, and that if he did it, I would have kicked him out. He did it, and my mom said if I tried kicking him out, she would leave too. Why are you letting your mom call the shots at your wedding, bro? I just remember seething inside. My brother got married last weekend. Instead of a welcome to the family toast, I used the time to announce that we are expecting our first baby. My mom was upset, but my grandmother told her to sit down and shut up. We spent most of the reception talking to family we would not see again for a while about our coming baby. My mom says I was an asshole for taking attention away from my brother on his wedding day. She got really mad when I reminded her that she threatened to leave my wedding if I kicked him out after he proposed. I have the screen capture of the text messages. Commenter, what a toxic family. Original P started planning revenge when the brother tried to upstage him at his own wedding. OP responds, oh, I absolutely did. Fun fact, my wife is not pregnant. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Oh, no. I mean, oh, yes. But oh, no. The ripple effects from this are probably not worth the play here because she's not pregnant, which means all the family that he talked to, and he's like, yeah, we're expecting. All of that was just to get back at his brother. Yeah. We'll give the petty confetti here to, I think the real villain in this story is mom, isn't it? Tell me you're not the favorite without telling me you're not the favorite, because at OP's wedding, mom's like, sit down and shut the fuck up. He is going to propose and you're not going to do anything. And then you try to basically reciprocate at his wedding by doing something, and she bitches about you stealing attention away. Hold up, ma. Being a bit of a hypocrite there. Being a bit of a hypocrite there, mama. Unequal treatment and all that shit. These are brothers, right? So brothers, I'm sure these guys have their own way of doing battle. Normally, petty war is not the brothers' game. This is almost like prank level shit. Well, and this time it is because his wife is actually not pregnant. This guy, he probably is the asshole for doing this, right? If his wife was actually pregnant, he wouldn't be the asshole. He probably is the asshole for doing this, but I don't want to put him on the scale. What do you guys think here? I'm gonna let you guys decide where he lands on the scale, because I don't want to put him on the scale. Where does he go? Where does he go? Do we think we're saying NTA? We're saying 4. If his wife okayed it, he's NTA. It sounds like she did, because they both talked to all the extended relatives. For lying to the extended relatives really is like the only thing he's a real asshole for. She probably planned it with him. Probably. Yeah, Ripley. His brother is clearly mom's favorite. Justified ASCON too. NTA. So, I mean, you know what? It isn't everyone sucks here. And I only say that to OP because of lying to the extended family members. Now, if during this process he was like, yeah, by the way, she's not really pregnant. We're just doing this to get back at him. That'd be a much different thing. But the only thing I have a problem with is lying to all these family members who could be out buying baby gifts right now for them. There's no reason. They're collateral damage. I understand that. But you know, if you've got an issue with an individual in your family, try to limit the collateral damage here. I think the OP is the least amount of asshole in all this. Mom's at least at a 2 here because she definitely should not have opened her frickin' mouth in this instance when she allowed OP's brother to detract from his wedding way back when. Also, OP, this is why your wife was on board. Because your mom allowed this shit to happen at her wedding and she's like, hell yeah, we're getting him back. Hell yeah. She probably like went and got herself real bloated the night before and like tried to wear like a tight shirt. She probably tried to make herself look a little pregnant because mom pulling this shit at her wedding was a big no-no. And I wouldn't be surprised if they have a stressed relationship because of that now. Well, I mean, she was willing to do this and piss mom off. So she's at least a 2. She might be a 1. She might be a 1. Mom here. Brother, I think brother's here at a 2. At a 2. His mom facilitated this shit. So yeah, she's the real mastermind in all of this. Brother might be a 1 too. Mom might be a 1. She's definitely worse than brother because she's the one that enabled this bullshit to happen and then reinforced her unequal treatment whenever she opened her mouth whenever he tried to return fire here. Original OP, you know, the lie is not okay. It's collateral damage. Other family members think your wife is pregnant now. And I hope that you set the record straight right afterwards and called every single one of them. And you're like, hey, this is a joke. Here's what's going on. But this is, gosh dang, this is not a family I would want to be involved in because they're playing petty chess. They're thinking 12 moves in advance and just thinking about how they can screw each other over. Like, yeah, wow, good God. Grandma, yes, grandma being like, sit the down is great. Grandma green flags it. Grandma. Yeah, they had to use the pregnancy to make sure that it outstaged them. Christina, yeah, man. The story was titled, Am I the Astronaut for Announcing Our Pregnancy at My Brother's Wedding After He Proposed at Mine? That's, yeah, it's a bit of tit for tat there. This story comes from Best of Redditor Updates and is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Walking Out of My Birthday Dinner After My Sister and Her Boyfriend Announced That They Were Getting Married? It's a theme. Originally posted October 11th, 2022. This was a couple of weeks ago, but I still think about it. I, 16 female, had my sweet 16th a couple of weeks ago. Nothing too crazy in that, but my parents and my extended family all came over and we went out to a nice restaurant that my parents had booked. A lot of my family, cousins and nieces and nephews were there, so it was a lot of people. After we ate dinner and it was time to blow out my candles, my mom insisted I open some of my presents so I don't have to carry them home. My aunties, uncles, and grandparents gave me my presents. After opening their present and saying thank you and that, my older sister and her boyfriend gave me their present. Inside their box they gave me was just a "Will you be my maid of honor" card on top of the present. I was obviously confused and looked at them with a weird expression on my face. My mom came over to look in the box as well, and she loudly said, "You're getting engaged!" My sister squealed with excitement and told us all about her proposal and how they're already wedding planning. She said it was the perfect time to announce their engagement since all of our family was here. When my sister asked if I was going to say yes, I just nodded and excused myself to the bathroom. No, I didn't go to the bathroom. I ended up walking out and went to a nearby park. A couple of hours passed by and my dad pulled over on the curb and told me to get in with him. I expected him to yell at me, but he ended up taking me out for ice cream and we sat at the lake and just talked. When I got home, I saw my cake on the counter and my mom got up and started yelling about me about how I wasted money, wasted my family's time. My sister and her boyfriend came out and told me how mean I am for doing that to them. My sister ended up saying that my birthday wasn't as important as her wedding, and my mother agreed. Oh, no, you didn't. My dad told my sister and her boyfriend to get out and ended up talking to my mom about how they could have checked with me beforehand instead of announcing it. So, am I the astronaut? Let's dive into some relevant comments here first. Comment: info out of being nosy. Did they get you an actual birthday gift, or was your presence in their wedding the gift they gave you? You are NTA for being hurt. And your mom saying a wedding is more important than their child's birthday is mean. Original OP, basically just a shitty box with the maid of honor card and a little accessory she wanted us to wear on her wedding day. Kind of like stuff you'd put to give your bridesmaids as well, if that makes sense. Yeah, so it was basically no gift. It was bridesmaid accessories. Comment completely unrelated, but I'm curious about the statement, my mom insisted I open some of my presents so I don't have to carry them home. Once you open your presents, do you leave them there? Original OP, I just realized I made no sense whatsoever. I just remember that my mom was complaining about how they'd take up too much space in the car, and she didn't want me to have to carry them inside, hence why I opened them at the restaurant. Comment, did you confirm that your mom knew that your sister was going to do this? Because she sucks, and I would talk to your dad and show him those comments. Show him these comments. He seems solid and your mom sucks. NTA, damn girl, I feel sorry for you. What a shitty thing your sister and mom did. Original OP, my mom denied the fact that she knew anything about my sister's engagement as they were arguing about nonstop. Comment, so was your mom mad at your sister as well? OP, no. She thinks that it was a nice surprise and that I should have been appreciative instead of walking out and wasting everyone's time. Mom's getting worse. Comment, I would like to know what the rest of your family thought about this. Are they on your sister and mother's side or on your side? OP, my sister and her fiance received texts from my grandparents and a few aunties and uncles saying it was a shitty move to pull, and they should have asked before announcing their engagement. Although they are happy for my sister and her fiance, as a wedding is a big deal, they just said that it wasn't the right time, as she wouldn't like it if someone else announced that on her birthday. But nobody's on any side, and they've moved on from it. Have they? Comment, are you still planning on being the maid of honor after what she did and said to you, her fiance too? OP, definitely not. It's a huge responsibility to be a maid of honor at a wedding. Help planning the wedding as well, and I think they take care of the bridal party or whatever as well. I got no clue on how to plan a wedding, especially at my age, but I'll probably be one of her bridesmaids. Comment, you did not explain why you left or what you did talk about with your father. OP, I left because I was upset. Not trying to sound like a brat or anything, but everyone's attention just turned towards my sister and her boyfriend/fiance, even though it was my birthday, and most people look forward to their sweet 16th. I just had to get out of there because I knew I'd cry. My dad and I just talked about what happened. He asked if I was all right and was telling me that he and my mom didn't even know about the engagement. Let's talk about this before we get into the update. So, Mom, for coming out and saying that the sister's engagement announcement was more important than OP's birthday, she goes to AskCon 1. You don't say that shit. You're not supposed to think that shit either, but you sure as don't say that shit to your kid. You literally just said you aren't as important. And yes, they should have checked with you ahead of time. Just like the story we had before. If they would have communicated and cleared it and everybody was okay with everything, there would not have been an issue. But they hijacked it, didn't even get you a gift, just used this opportunity to get this in front of everybody. Had they asked you, you probably would have said yes. And there would have not been an issue at all. But they hijacked this party from you. That's what you had the issue with. Dad, green flags, bro. Nice work, Dad, for being calm about this and understanding, and then telling sister and fiance to get the F out. The battle he's going to have with his wife, OP's mom, is going to be legendary. They are at odds now. You know that they don't agree on this, and it's going to be a journey. This is going to be a journey. OP says everybody's over it. No, they're not. I guarantee you, Mom and Dad are not done. They are not done battling this. Update, October 14th, 2022. I am grateful for all the comments and your opinions, and I showed my dad all of the comments on what people wrote. He says, you all are hilarious, and he appreciates you. He was laughing at all the stuff I should do at the wedding. My dad and I sat my mom and sister down just so I could explain to her that I won't be her maid of honor, as it's a big responsibility, and that it should be in the hands of an adult instead of a 16-year-old. Although she tried to convince me further, I still said no. She starts growling at me, saying I was ruining her wedding and that her and her fiance went out of their way to buy me a gift, which was her proposal box to me. Unfortunately, my mom and sister started telling me how cruel it was to ruin a wedding and that it's not about me, it's about the bride. My dad ended up arguing with my mom about how it isn't cruel and no 16-year-old should have to plan and help organize a wedding, as that is what maid of honors do, and it would be too stressful and should go to an adult instead. My mom started arguing with him about how it's not my day as I already had mine.
But she didn't, Mom.
And I should go forward with my sister's plan as it's about her and not about me. Well, funny how that's a one-way street, isn't it? It's only about her and it's only her day whenever it is OP's sister and not OP. How small are you trying to make your 16-year-old daughter feel? My dad brought up the birthday and argued with my mom and my sister that she ruined my birthday, and if she didn't try to make it all about herself, we wouldn't be arguing. I like this guy a lot. I don't want to go into too much detail of what went down, but basically my sister started crying and my mom called me a brat and a disgrace and how I've officially ruined my bitchy sister's wedding. Wow. I'm now staying at my grandparents' house until things cool down at home. I don't think they will, to be honest, since my mom tells me any chance she gets that I'm a brat and a horrible sister for not helping my big sister out for her special day. My dad is with my mom trying to sort her out, and my other grandparents, my mom's parents, are talking with her as my dad told them what happened. I'm not going to be her maid of honor nor her bridesmaid since she's a dick. I'm not sure I'll even go to her wedding. I'll just have to see what my dad thinks about it. My grandparents, my dad's parents, who I'm staying with at the moment, are talking to my dad about considering divorcing or taking a break from my mom, as she and my sister are creating a toxic environment for him and I to live in. And that after all these years, they see no reason for him to live with such a woman. I don't really know what to think about it, and I feel kind of lost, but I thought I'd update you all. Well, damn. Comments? Your sister and her fiance went out of their way to make you a birthday present that had nothing to do with you. It was all about themselves. I'm curious, are there any pictures from your day that you would want to put in an album for yourself? OP, only a few. One of my parents and I, one with my sister, and the rest of them are just my family, but just one with me by myself. So, Mom is... Oh, we already did that. Mom is a bizzo and an ASCON one. And the apple did not fall far from the tree with OP's older sister. Because, wow, using every opportunity to belittle your daughter because she got upset because her birthday got hijacked, and her simply declining the invitation to be maid of honor is her ruining the older daughter's special day. And you're using the argument, the day's not about you. Do you see how asinine this is, Mummy? Do you understand how much of a dick you look like? And I'm using dick because she called her sister a dick too. Do you understand how much of a shite person this makes you look like? Do you understand that basically everybody else in the family is like, yeah, that's bullshit? I told you the division wasn't done between mom and dad. I told you that wasn't done. Mom seems like the kind of lady that doesn't take well to dissension amongst the ranks. She doesn't take too kindly to people who she controls disagreeing with her. And I'm sure that hubby taking the younger daughter's side here is just eating her up. She's not going to budge. She's not going to listen to reason. She's not going to try to see someone else's perspective. She's not going to be understanding. She's not going to be a mom. She's gone all in on the older sister's wedding because she gets to relive her glory days here and plan a wedding, and she's probably going to wear white to the wedding, and there'll be a different story about that where the older sister's like, I can't believe what my mom did. Oh, you had no indicators that she was a crazy biznatch, huh? None? It's only cool when it's on your behalf. Got it. OP, stay with your grandparents. Your dad's going to be there soon because it's a holy shit fire back at home. Gosh. I don't understand how people can do something that is just so plainly hypocritical and see nothing wrong with it at all. How does mom look at what she's doing and be like, yes, this seems fair? How does she look at how she's treating her 16-year-old kid who's just declining an invite to be a maid of honor, which she shouldn't be in the first place, and telling her that she's a disgrace and just trying to make her as small as possible and think, yeah, this feels right. OP, your mom doesn't deserve you. Your mom does not deserve your presence in that house, nor does she deserve your father's, and she will soon find this out. Not that she'll accept it, but here soon she's going to wake up to an empty house, and she in her bones will know that she f***ed up and that she's a shit human. She will never tell you that. She will never apologize. She will continue the facade, but she will feel it. This, unfortunately, gosh dang it. You know, the whole zero is greater than -1 argument that we use, where if people are a negative force in your life, fucking leave them behind. 0 is greater than -1. You are better off on your own than you are with this person. When that person is your parent, that sucks. But the math doesn't lie. 0 is greater than -1. And right now, both you, OP, and your dad are looking at the same equation, getting the same result. You, OP, are NTA for anything that you've done here, and I'm sorry that you are in an environment where your mother treats you like trash. At least you have one parent who you can connect with and who understands what's happening. At least you have one parent who's standing up for you. I understand that doesn't make it okay, but I feel like there are a lot more people out there who don't have that one parent to stand up for them and who just have to deal with the shit situation and who don't have grandparents to go to. You actually have a path to happiness. Use it. Because a lot of people in a situation like this don't have the dad to stand up for them, don't have the grandparents to go to live outside of the toxicity. You do. You have a lifeline. Use it. Am I the astronaut for giving my stepdaughter anything she wants after she goes to her mom's house? I have a 10-year-old stepdaughter, Harper. I have been in Harper's life since she was 2, and I love this little girl more than anything. My husband and I have Harper Saturday afternoon through Thursday. Her mom picks her up from school on Friday and has her until 12 p.m. Saturday. Harper's mom is a vindictive bitch. Harper hates going to her mom's house, and no matter how many times we've tried, we can't get her custody reduced. In March, Harper made a picture frame at school and was asked to bring in a family picture. Harper's mom sent in a picture of herself, and we sent in a picture of the 3 of us. Harper used the moment the 3 of us, and the frame was sent home on a Friday. Harper's mom was so mad that she didn't use the picture of herself that she broke the frame in front of Harper. Now she will make Harper go to her house every Friday, but she won't talk to Harper or touch her. She pretends like she's not there. She's 10? That's abuse. How can you not use that to get the custody agreement changed? That's f***ed up. This destroys Harper. When she gets home, she always finds me and will hold on to me for the rest of the day. She even refuses to eat or speak. Yeah, that's abuse. There's gotta be some way to use this to change the agreement. She usually speaks or communicates in other ways by Sunday, so if she says she wants something, I get it for her. Whether it's a big Lego set that she's been wanting, a new dress, a mani-pedi, etc., she always gets it. My husband told me to stop spoiling Harper after she spends the night at her mom's house. He said I can sleep in her room or make her a special breakfast or paint her nails at home, but a $100 Lego set, some $20 dresses, going out to eat, and mani-pedis are just too much. Just for reference, our houses and cars are completely paid off and we have a combined income of $560K. We can easily afford it. I think she deserves it after going to her mom's house, but he thinks she's going to end up spoiled and expect this anytime something unpleasant happens. Am I the astronaut for spoiling her after she goes to her mom's house? Candy Thunder has left me a note here. She says, I think your intentions are good, but you are setting your daughter up for failure later in life. A new Lego set or dress is not going to change what is going on with her. She's going through trauma every week. It would be more beneficial to teach your daughter to stand up for herself, communicate effectively and clearly, and develop a backbone that she will 100% need later in life, especially after dealing with her bio mom. Life is hard. That isn't going to change no matter how old she gets. It is always going to try and knock her down, but instead of getting a $100 Lego set, give her the tools to get back up again. You seem like a great mom who cares, and she's lucky to have you in her corner. Give her the tools to do the same for her child someday and keep working on getting full custody. Treat your daughter because you want to treat your daughter, not because she went through a terrible experience. Yeah, I think the intentions are good here. Like, this is coming from a good place, but you do have to, as a parent, you do have to look at what you're training your child to do. This is one of those teach them to fish moments, right? Teach them to figure out how to cope and make themselves feel better. Better yet, teach them to stand up for themselves and create some boundaries and actually control the experience that they're having. Not that it will do anything in this case, but if she spoke up for herself, it would probably create some kind of activity that maybe could be used in the custody agreement because she hasn't stood up for herself to this point. We don't know what would happen, but we know that Biomom got all spicy about her not using the picture and broke the picture frame in front of her. She's going to do something stupid. If this kid speaks her mind, she's got to do something stupid. But yes, training your child to this almost ends up training your child for the situation where they seek out pain because there's a reward afterward, right? If this really got ingrained here, this is like pain equals reward. Negative experience equals reward. At some point, they're going to become addicted to the negative experience because they're used to this reward happening after. And even if the bad stuff with mom stops later in life, if this continues, they'd almost start creating their own negative things to happen because there's some kind of reward afterwards. And even if they're providing the reward themselves, it is a habit. It is a system that they've grown accustomed to here. You have to look at that and see the danger in it as a mom. You have to see this and be like, yeah, I can see how that might get tricky later on in life. Now, if you took this approach of saying, hey, when you get back from your mom's, I know there's a lot to unpack. I know there's always a lot of feelings going on. We need to talk about them. We can talk about them while we get a mani-pedi or while I do your nails or while we do this. If you accompany that treat with something productive emotionally or psychologically, you can use that as a vehicle, I think, without creating the system that we're talking about, without creating a reliance on pain for a reward. And maybe start reframing it so that as she achieves things that help her cope, help her manage, help her confidence, help her communicate, maybe those are the things you start rewarding. This is morphine. This is a Band-Aid approach right now. And it's the Band-Aid approach is like the first thing that everybody wants to do, right? It's the easy thing to do. Put a Band-Aid on it. You have to start treating the real problem, though. You have to start treating the disease. You have to start looking at the long-term treatment plan here. Band-Aids aren't going to work forever. It's your little system. And yeah, you're going to have to transition slowly out of that now, because then if you just rip the Band-Aid off and immediately start changing things, it's going to be a shock to her system here. There's going to have to be a process here. But yeah, I agree. It comes from a good place. You're not doing anything knowingly wrong. You're not doing anything knowingly harmful. You feel bad because she has to deal with bullshit and you're treating her to try to make it better. We get it. But it's a Band-Aid that could end up creating a reliance on Band-Aids. It is, you do have good intentions here, but even with good intentions, because you are creating a system that will inevitably create some kind of harm later on, you do end up on the scale here. And it's probably just here. It is probably just a should have done it differently. It's not anything that was done maliciously. It's a little bit more than a 4 because it's more than a could have. It's a should have done this differently. Because this girl's going to need the tools. She's going to need to know how to fish. She's going to need to have more than just a reliance on Band-Aids and $100 Lego sets. Impact over intent. Biomom isn't a mom. Why would you treat your own child like that? I think she probably, and she only has her a couple of days, right? So it's not like she's keeping up this front to gain any child support or anything like that. It's probably more pride than anything. And what sucks is that I think a lot of parents who have split families and have shared custody of kids end up taking their kid for the time that they're allotted to have their kid purely out of pride, purely because they may not care at all, but they aren't going to let their partner think that they're a shitty person. They're going to let the public think that they're a shitty mom, right? It's pride prevents them from doing a lot of things. Hey, Dusty Thunder here, and I wanted to thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that content, and if you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and most importantly, share. Also, you can find swag and so much more at dusty-thunder.com, and you'll find even more content on all of our platforms. We're on TikTok, YouTube. We now have an official Facebook page that we'll be posting stories to as well. We have podcasts on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and so much more. You can see all of our content platforms on Linktree, which is linked in my bio. Engage with us wherever you're enjoying content, and do your best to avoid the Askonauts today. Thanks again.